The No Nonsense Roundtable, a weekly radio show and podcast where host Dom Genova interviews guests from all walks of life, all with amazing stories to tell. And now, here's your host, Dom Genova.
Well, welcome everybody to another edition of the No Nonsense Roundtable every Saturday right here on WYSL, WLEA. And of course, now it is commercial free. And my guest, I have to tell you, Christopher is like one of my favorite favorite people, but you might be like one of my favorite mammals. I mean,
That's a big category, Dom.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He is the director. Is that the word? The director of collections at the
Vice President and Chief Curator.
And Chief Curator. You know, when you say collector, it sounds like you have something to do with getting the money, that people owe you or something like that. So maybe you want to yeah.
People sometimes say, "Oh, I'm going to catch up on that past due student loan." Well, no, I'm not that kind of person.
But anyway, but Chris, I have you on just about regularly, and there's always something going on at the National Strong Museum of Play, a true gem of what we have going on here in Rochester. And one of the things that I wanted to do this week in particular is because the weather is so bad, is give people a little something to do and something they can do with their kids and something that is warm and not outside. So Chris is going to be here for the first section of the show, and then we're going to have a second of the show, and we're going to be going over, the Corning Museum of Glass. So two different places that you can go and do something with your kids and have a lot of fun. Now, the one big thing that you have that the Corning Museum of Glass, can you name one thing that you have that they don't have?
We've got a lot of interactivity that they don't necessarily have to the same degree.
Okay, that is a good professional answer, but the answer I was looking for is a big ass parking garage.
That is true.
That is true. So no matter, if you get there and there's a lake effect snow, your car is going to be fine. And if you're living in Rochester, it's not as big of a trip. But part of the atmosphere the universe rather of WYSL is that they also have a station in Hornell, which is WLEA. So either way, we can kind of go north or south here. So tell me, let's give everybody like the 4-minute kind of thumbnail vision of the Museum of Play, the National Museum of Play. Because it really is, it's extraordinary. I mean, it's a national museum. I mean, this is not like you have one in every state or every is so far geography away from one another. This is like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There ain't another. So let's tell a little people who don't know about it, because it is really amazing.
Well, the Strong Museum fills an entire city block. It's almost 400,000 square feet. One radio personality likened it to putting 3 Costco's together. If you're just trying to think of the square footage and the kind of scope, we have the biggest collection of toys, dolls, games, and video games anywhere in the world. We have topped 570,000 items in our collection this past year. So we are big and getting bigger. We are so engaging for people of every age. This is not just something for you and your family. It is for that group, but it's also so much for adults of all ages. And the big refrain that I hear from people, whether you're 8 or 88, is I had one of those, with that tone in people's voices that they haven't thought about this item forever. And they're snapping pictures for their siblings and remember when, all those kinds of things. As much as I love art museums, Dom, very few of us go in and say, oh, look, it's just like our Monet. But when you come to the Strong Museum, you can see your life, you can see your childhood.
Yeah.
It's not your Barbie doll or your radio flyer wagon necessarily, but it's like yours, and it powers those memories and starts fascinating conversations between different generations.
Well, one of the things I see in what you do now, Walt Disney talked years ago about how he would bring his children to amusement parks, and he basically sat in a bench and saw them on the merry-go-rounds or whatever they did. And he said, I wanted someplace where I could interact with my children. He says, and because people want to interact with their children all the time, and certainly that's what you do at the Museum of Play. I mean, it's not it's not a static museum of just toys. There's things to do and things to say. And the other thing is that you've been evolutionary. I mean, over the years I've seen here, I've been here since '94. So over the years I've seen you with more exhibits and more of a direction, and certainly things now you play with things now that you didn't. I mean, they didn't even exist years ago. I mean, you're talking about the video games and whatnot.
Right. When I started working here in 1989, a little bit before you came to Rochester, kids cried on their way into the museum because they didn't want to go in. Now they cry on their way out. So I have helped change when children in Rochester cry because they don't want to leave. And on peak weeks, we have to do this really deceitful thing called the goodbye parade that we're going to give you flags and maracas. And we're going to march, we're going to march you out the door, and we're going to slam that door behind you because otherwise we would never get you out of the place.
But in a larger sense, I was talking to Bob Duffy years ago, and he said that's the same problem that Kodak had with employees.
Okay.
Rochester was was a hellhole until you lived here and you found out it was pretty darn good and you didn't want to leave. So let's talk about play, all told, because I'm thinking about this in sort of a philosophical way about play. There's some play that is imaginative, and there's some play that is competitive and what. Let's talk a little bit about play because I'm a little bit afraid that we're not using our imagination as much as we used to. I mean, years ago, and you played with you played with you play with a stick.
Right.
Now this is now anybody who's listening on the radio can't see what I have here, but I have a picture of a stick because the stick was inducted into the Hall of Fame, right?
In 2007. It is a
2007.
longtime denizen.
Now we all know that back in the day, I mean, especially if you didn't have a lot of money, you found things to play with. An old refrigerator box, became a
Right.
castle. We as a tractor came by once, a bulldozer came once by my house, and it made this big mound of dirt. Okay, and so consequently, my buddies and I found dirt clogs, and the dirt clogs were hand grenades.
Okay.
We threw dirt at one another. Now dirt clogs not in your Hall of Fame yet, right?
Not yet, but you can make a nomination right now, Dom, for 2026's induction.
Well, the only thing is that that level of violence wouldn't be accepted these days.
Perhaps
I'm
not.
sure. Yeah, like the six gun and the cap guns, that probably wouldn't make it these days. But getting back to my original concept is that a lot of the play right now is video games, and you may not be in the same room with the person and whatever. Let's comment about that. Are we
Sure.
getting less adaptive and creative than we were years ago, or not?
Just earlier today, I was thinking about exactly that question, and I was thinking of it kind of akin to our diets, that people are healthiest if they have some protein, some carbohydrates, some vegetables and fruits, that they don't eat all of just one thing. As good as each of those may be and tasty, all of one thing isn't really good for our general well-being. And it's
Mhm.
similar with play. I think we need a balanced diet of play, some outdoor play, some indoor play, some social play, some solitary time. Imaginative is a big one for me. I think kids today often have such structured play environments, whether that's in video games where you've got sort of a competitive objective, or whether it's in the constant kinds of sports activities that you are playing because this is structured and I'm going to do this at this time, rather than because it's what you want to do with your friends at that moment and you're putting together a game of whether that's a pickup game of baseball or a game of hide and go seek. Those kinds of free form, internally prompted rather than pre-programmed games is something that I see as being a lack,
Mhm.
and that we would all be happier and better off if we had that kind of mix in our
Mhm.
lives of our types of play.
Now, are you still doing the G2 program?
We are. Generation 2 is a program that, if your listeners don't know, sends dedicated play pals essentially
Mhm.
to, I think it's 27 different school classrooms. And kids, for half an hour, get a grown up who is playing the way they tell them to. It is not grown up driven, it is kid driven. And what teachers have found is students' absentee rates go way down
Mhm.
when they know that they've got their G2 buddy who's going to show up, gives kids continuity and a friendly face in school environments that don't always feel that kind of way. And it is so rewarding for the volunteers as well as the kids. It is a wonderful program, and we're hoping that it will continue to prosper and grow.
Well, let's talk about the age of these kids. Now, Nita was in the G2 program, and she was saying that the kids get into it, and the kids love it because they're directing the play themselves. There are no, I guess the concept is there are no rules that are dictated by the person there, the adult there. The kids are directing themselves, and so that gives them a feeling of freedom, creativity. They make up the rules, and I guess the story goes one day that one of the kids was walking out with one of the other kids, and said, "I think we did these old people a really big favor today."
I love that.
Yeah. Uh, but what are the ages of the kids again? I forget myself.
It is first and second grade, I believe. So it is kids at a formative stage. And it's so important to get kids interested in school at that point in their lives, because
Hmm.
if they become discouraged, that can be an impediment their entire learning life.
Hmm. Well, and the other thing about it is that you are giving them a culture of acceptance and imagination. I mean, it's not like you're playing video games with one another, or you each have a cell phone. I mean, you're engaging with the child. And I always said there's a difference between impressions and engagement. I mean, engagement
Hmm.
is engagement. I mean, like your friends on Facebook really aren't your friends. I mean, some of them are, but they're really not your friends. You're friendly with them, but they're not your friends. So you just went through a big expansion too, right?
We did. 2023, we added 90,000 square feet onto the museum.
90,000 square feet. I mean, people have to understand how big that is.
That was almost a third of our size, and it was a way to have more space so that on peak days, our guests are spread through a bigger building so it
Hmm.
doesn't feel congested the way it can on a really hectic day. And it also gave new ways. That space is largely dedicated to video games and gave us a way to engage with people of older age brackets, both
Hmm.
tweens and teens and adults who might not have found Sesame Street or our Berenstain Bears exhibit quite as compelling. So it
Hmm.
really sort of expanded our portfolio of what you could do and why you would come here. And we are a huge date night destination, Dom. I don't know whether you
Mm.
realize that. For
No,
20
I
something,
haven't gone on a date in a while, so yeah. I'm
for
sorry.
20 somethings, it's a great way to spend time with someone on a Friday and
Yeah, yeah,
Saturday
yeah,
night. We're
yeah,
open. You don't
yeah.
have to drink or be somewhere loud. You can actually talk with each other. You're not sitting in a movie or a concert silent
Mhm.
while you're just side by side. So it's a really wonderful way to engage. And we have grown up only nights 4 times a year called Happiest Hour with adult beverages. You've got to be
Ooh.
21, and we get anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500 people on
Oh,
those
that's
nights.
great. That's great. And as a guy, you really have to seem like you're a nice guy. If you take your date to the museum of play, I mean,
Right.
you're not going to get beer spilled on you like you have at a football game or something like that. So,
Exactly. It's a good strategy.
yeah, not, I would imagine you don't have very many bouncers there. So,
We don't. It is not that kind of environment. And what's impressive, I've worked the ticket
yeah.
podium for that, and we get people from their 20s into their 70s for
Yeah.
sure. So it's people of all sorts of
Hmm.
age brackets and demographics and interests are there to have a good time together. And they go out with princess crowns and magic wands and all the
Hmm.
kinds of things that they don't have to feel guilty that they've
Yeah.
shoved a 7-year-old out of the way to do the crafts or run our miniature Wegmans supermarket, all
Yeah.
those
Well, the thing is that you just says 90,000 square feet
that we added.
that
Yes.
you added on 90,000 square feet. You know what an acre is, right? It's 40,000 square feet. That's two
Okay.
acres. That's
So
two.
that's more than two
That's
acres.
yeah. That is yeah. That's a lot. That is an awful lot of. That's an awful lot of room. Now, the other thing is, I've been to a couple of galas that the mayor has
Oh, sure.
at your place too, and that's a totally different thing too. I mean, obviously that's not the traditional thing you think of when you think about the Museum of Play, but that's really kind of a cool thing too. Are there other ones you do? I'm sure there are other ones you do. So why don't you mention some of those?
Sure. Well, Mayor Evans has insisted that rather than rotating around to other sorts of venues, the only place that he really wants to have his mayor's annual ball is at the
Hmm.
Strong National Museum of Play. So that's a high compliment. And the museum, if you are so inclined as an individual or a company, is available for rent. So you want to hold your event here, you want to have your wedding here, you want to celebrate something, you can rent portions or all of it and make sure it's a standout event that doesn't get blurry with that event that was at some anonymous hotel ballroom.
Oh
It
yeah,
will
yeah,
be memorable and
yeah.
catering, all of that. It's a one-stop
Hmm.
shop for a really great experience.
Nita and I are going to be celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. Hmm.
There you
Now,
go.
from talking to the people from the Corning Museum of Glass, apparently you have the world's largest marble.
I was
Is this
I was
it?
going to go there if you didn't, but yes. We and the Corning Museum of Glass have a special relationship right now because for as part of our exhibit that just opened called Marble Speedway that
Hmm.
lets you race marbles. They're actually
Ooh.
secret billiard balls because they're easier and bigger to see. But we asked the Corning Museum of Glass, we commissioned them to make world's largest glass marble. I was kind of picturing it being the size of an exercise ball, those kinds you
Yeah.
sit
Hmm.
on.
Yep.
It
Yep.
is
Yep. Yep.
actually more the size of a bowling ball.
Okay.
Big, solid pieces of glass are tough to make because they have a
Mm.
tendency to explode as they cool. Just the forces of the physics inside that piece of glass. So it
Hmm.
is impressively shaped. It is surprisingly large. It is beautiful. It is resembling the marble that is part of the museum's logo on the O on Strong. We often
Ah.
world marble, and this is an exact reproduction of that marble. And it is cool to see, as well as to be able to play Marble Speedway, where 6 people can race their quote marbles down this incredible track and have gates and choices that they can make. It's followed by video. It is so exciting to play and a new attraction here at the
Mhm.
museum that folks will be able to enjoy long term.
Well, and the other thing, let's do a little bit of retail here too. Before we give them the website, but you have a couple of places to eat there. You have your dining car. I mean, let's talk a
Yep,
little bit about that,
we've
and then you can watch people. What do you call that thing of where they're sailing over your head
That
and
is the ropes course that you can
yeah.
see the queuing area right behind my office window here.
Hmm.
So when that got added a couple years ago, I was afraid it would be like a roller coaster where
Hmm.
people would be screaming as they rode on it. But fortunately, people on ropes courses are a little quieter in
Oh yeah.
general.
Well, yeah, I'd have to be a little more adventuresome. I mean, you're not getting me up on one of those
Or me
things.
either.
But you have a cafeteria and you have it was Bill Gray's, right?
Yes, it's Bill Gray's in our 1956 vintage diner. And
Hmm.
we have a cafe at the far end of the museum when you're tired and a little cranky, whether you're 5 years old
Mm.
or
Mm,
65 years old. There's a
hmm
place to sit down, have a cup of coffee, get some pastry, and build up your energy to come back the other direction. Because we're a very linear museum. We are
hmm
basically one long path, and you've got to come back exactly the same path you entered.
So let's tell everybody how to buy tickets and your website and all this other stuff.
Sure. The easy place, one-stop shopping for information or tickets is at museumofplay.org. And that's where you can find out about hours, the current exhibits, what's coming up soon. All those kinds of things are accessible to you, and you will have a great way to select what the best package is for you, whether you want to come to our year-round butterfly garden, because who doesn't need a little
Mm.
tropical getaway without needing to hop aboard a plane? And you can feel like you're in a
Mhm.
tropical environment surrounded by serene butterflies, and all you have to do is come into the Strong National Museum of Play.
I forgot all about that. Yeah, no, what a magnificent piece of architecture too. I mean, that is
It
just
looks like a
and,
butterfly outside as well as inside.
yeah, and you can play video games
Play
and the way
pinball.
what's really kind of pleasing and amazing to me is the Wegmans thing. I mean, there is not a kid in the world that doesn't like doing the Wegmans experience there. I don't care if they're two or they're 20. It's really kind of cool. So,
It is. So that is so engaging. And on our grown-up only nights, that space is packed as well with grown-ups.
hmm.
And part of me sort of shakes my head saying, you can shop at a real Wegmans any day of the
You
week,
could
but
go to
it's yours, it's miniature, you get to run the cash register. All of that is as appealing to grown-ups as it is to kids.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You have the Pittsburgh Wegmans, and well, I think it might be the little boxes that might do it. I think who
Maybe so.
knows? It reminds you of your childhood, but and that's the thing. There are things that you can look at from your past, and you have this experience that you can relive again. It's like most of the time on the show, I ask you the first question I ask you is that what did you want to do when you were 10 years old, and you can see some of those things from back when, and it brings you back there. It's just a human experience, and most of the time you are climate controlled. Well, all the time you're climate controlled. So this time of year, and it's 5 degrees outside, and you have nothing on your calendar. It sounds like it's attractive. This is the thing to do, and plus you have a big garage.
We do have
Now,
a big garage. You won't have to scrape your car when
right.
you come out.
Now, let me before we go, I have to ask you a question about this
Okay.
stick. I'm holding up this stick. Is this the stick?
It is all
No,
sticks.
no, no. This isn't the stick though. This is a stick. This isn't
This is a
like
stick.
this is a stick. Okay. So you don't have like the stick there. Like you can go there and you can see like the chair that Lincoln sat in. Like you get I mean
It is
so
because the
yes, just
stick
okay.
as a plaything is much more comprehensive than
Okay.
any single stick.
Okay.
It,
Well, then the next one I want to see is refrigerator box. I think you have box, but I want to see refrigerator box.
well, that's especially the kind of box that we thought of in 2005 when we inducted the cardboard box into the Hall of Fame, because it was those big ones, whether
Oh
that was
yeah.
a washer dryer set or a refrigerator, those were the fun ones to play in. And long before there was social media,
Mhm.
if kids down my street knew who had gotten an appliance
Oh
delivered,
yeah.
we didn't need any electronic device. We knew that's where you wanted to be in that backyard.
No, I swear to God, my mother, we got a refrigerator once, and she put the box in the backyard, and I had fun with it. She goes, I thought you'd like that. I had fun with the box. But that's what I mean about imagination. Imagination, and all of a sudden the box becomes a boat or a house or whatever. So, you know,
I have a testimonial from some grandparents who had
mhm.
gotten a new console table from Pottery Barn, and their three grandsons so loved the box that the table came in that they insisted that their parents strap it to the roof of the minivan and let them take it home because they had so much fun at
What
Grandma
a
and
great story
Grandpa's
that
house.
what a great story that is. And kids, kids they need to have their fantasies. They need to imagine things, and God bless you for what you do. And it's like one of my favorite places on earth is the Strong National Museum of Play, and one of the gems of Rochester. So I'll go down to when I talk to the people from the Corning Museum, I'll find out what they have that you don't have.
Okay, we don't overlap. We are collaborative
Oh,
and
absolutely. This is not a zero-sum game. This is,
right,
I mean, a rising tide lifts all boats. I mean, it's not like, well, I'm going to go this place or that place. You go both.
right.
Both.
Absolutely. Both is better.
Well, good having you on again. I'm always delighted to talk to you. And like I say, God bless you for what you do because it's really a good thing.
Well, thanks for helping us get the word out, Dom.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. You can find our previous shows at nononsenseroundtable.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll make more.